Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Philly Tax Team's Facebook page and Instagram Live. My name is Camari, the founder of Philly Tax Team. Tonight, we are doing a special impromptu recording with the legal maven, the legal boss, Ms. Toni Moore of Legally Chic 360. And tonight, we're going to talk about business structures, business entities like LLCs, S-Corps, C-Corps, and how they affect your taxes. So say hello to everyone, Toni.
Hello, everyone. This is Toni Moore.
So Toni, we've been friends for some time now. Of course, Toni is a lawyer. She has ESQ behind her name. She's passed the bar and she's very, very certified and qualified to have this discussion. So for a while now, I've been wanting to talk about business structure and taxes and everything that goes into it. After going through this last tax season, I've seen that people really are going about this in a very haphazard manner. Actually, that's the PC way. People don't have a clue about what's going on with their businesses and how they're structuring them. And I thought this would be a good conversation for us to have.
Good talk.
Right. So before we get started, everybody, again, I'm Camari. This is Toni. Please like, comment, and share this video with your networks, especially with people who are either in business or are thinking about going into business. So Toni, just a quick question. You tell us why you're qualified to have this conversation.
Well, I mean, for the past 20 years, I've helped people start a business, protect a business, create tax strategies, succession planning, estate planning, probate planning. For over 13 years, I also did enforcement with the Department of Labor. So I look at businesses structuring. I look at organizations, governance issues from a tax point, from a legal point. I've worked criminal cases and civil cases with the Department of Labor, the IRS, the SEC, and also with certain regulatory agencies when it comes to like investments and things of that nature. So I live it. I love it. I turn around and I've helped teach principles to thousands of people in the past since 1997, because people only do what they know. So, I just feel as though I am standing on the shoulders of many who came before me. So it's my give back, to help as many as I can, as often as I can. Just know the rules, regulations, to set up their strategies and to appreciate the legalities that's governing all aspects of the realities, hence Legally Chic 360.
Okay. And you went to law school where?
Oh, I went to law school, Temple University Law School, graduated 20 years ago. And then I actually went back and got a master's in taxation, an LLM in taxation. And I graduated 2006. So I've been doing this for a while.
So basically you understand the legal side of tax, upside and downside all the way through.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Sometimes people like to throw stones and cash aid. So just wanted to get it out the box. Okay. So first thing I wanted to go over, business structures.
Okay.
We have sole proprietorships. We have LLCs. We have S-Corps. We have C-Corps. Can you run through what those are? And just start off with going what those are.
Yes. So, with the different types of, first things first, is sole proprietorship is the easiest thing that you could do. By the way, if this is too much information, I wrote a book called Handle Your Business. It's on Amazon. But sole proprietor literally is you decided that you want to monetize your gifts, your brilliance, whether it's cooking, it's cleaning, whether it's taking care of children. You do not set up a structure. You do not go to the Corporation Bureau to find out whether or not there's a name or anything else like that. You just pretty much offer your products and or services for a fee and people pay you for it. Done.
And everybody can do that with a social security number, right?
Pretty much everybody can do that. Even if they say, I want to do something and that if they using their governmental name, because I have met so many people on social media and I've met people in Pennsylvania and New Jersey who have started a business, a sole proprietorship, but they're not using their government name. And when I hear it, I tell people immediately, please, please, please file a DBA, a fictitious name, because under the rules, if you start a business and you're a sole proprietorship and you did not formalize it, you're like, I don't need this. I'm gonna just do my own thing. And you're using a name other than yourself, then that's unlawful. It's like a fictitious name, and it's like, the law says that it's criminal action. So don't do it. I meet plenty of people who are not using their real name. Bubba's Handicap, Salmon and Bob's, their favorite names or whatever, even some stage names. If you're making money, you're making coins off of it, you need to do a DBA. So we move on and say there's family and friends who are like, oh, I want to start a business together. You know how people do that with their friends and their family, and they start a business together. And if we call it a partnership, whether it's 2 people or 3 people, obviously it's more than one person. They're like, hey, let's get together. They start a partnership and they don't want to formalize, because there's a lot of people who just get it started. And we call it JV enterprises, where you're making your money, you're making your coins. Well, guess what? You can do that. And the sad part about a sole proprietorship and even a JV partnership.
Well, let's tell them what a JV is.
Oh, I'm sorry. A joint venture, when 2 people or 3 people, as many people come together and say, hey, I want to make some money. Let's make some money doing a car wash. Let's make some money doing, I don't know, luxury limousines and things of that nature. You use your stuff, I use my stuff. Let's make some money doing, I don't know, like Boss Ladies Brunch. If I was doing it with a group as opposed to myself, that would be a joint venture arrangement, right? With regards to when you don't formalize, whether it is a sole proprietorship or whether you don't formalize because it's a partnership, because you guys got together, you're friends, you like each other, you're setting yourself up. Because I tell people, when you're starting a business, or when you're working with people, I don't care if it's your best friend, your boo, your husband, somebody at church, whatever, then, there can always be a confusion. There can always be a misunderstanding. There can always be a frustration of expectation or something along that, which causes problems. And to me, there's nothing that beats a conversation like documentation. So you put it in writing. And another thing, which most people are like, oh, I don't want to get involved, it's too formal or whatever. But when you don't formalize and say something happens, like there's a lot of people who have coaching programs, say something happens, guess what? If there's a lawsuit, a person can come after your stuff and your business stuff. So I'm a big proponent of formalizing. To me, the easiest way to formalize is actually, whatever you're doing, please stop. The easiest way to formalize to me is filing an articles of an organization for an LLC. Boom. It's formal.
LLC stands for limited liability.
Limited liability company.
Okay.
Yeah. So easy breezy done. You file it. Easy breezy done. You file it because you're doing it on your own. It's going to be a disregarded entity anyway, unless you decide to boss up and take it another step and be taxed as, like a C-Corp or an S-Corp. However,
you talking, you in my lane now, you talking my talk.
Hey, some people always be like, oh, you're an attorney who talk accounting language. I'm like, I'm an attorney who knows ish.
So since you brought it up, you got to tell people what a disregarded entity is.
Okay, so disregarded means that you're essentially, it's almost like it's your alter ego. It's not like it's an S-Corp or C-Corp. It's not like a formal entity. It's like more like you're disregarded, and that your persona doesn't matter. You don't have to file like a form 1120, whether it's for an S or 1120 or partnership K1 or whatever. All you can file is your C corporation. Like, it's almost like the same form that you file in a side hustle is the same form you can file with your LLC. But then you can talk to Camari about self-employment taxes and what is better for you. Because, I know the rules, but I let somebody else play with the widgets. So, but with regards to I like the limited liability limited company, because of the fact that if you do it right, not because you filed articles of organization, but you actually set up a business, set up a bank account, maybe got some risk management, some insurance, you treat your business as a business, you have invoicing, and you're not paying for, your personal expenses and from your business expenses. And, I had a conversation with somebody about that yesterday. You mean I can't do that? I'm like, no, pretend like it's someone else's business. Pretend like it's someone else's business so you can set it in arm's length transaction. That way there's no issue, right?
Right.
So with regards to, if you do everything right and you establish your business as though it's a business, the cool thing is then you will have that limited liability in case someone says, oh, I tripped, I fell, or I swallowed a toenail from, mama's recipe. I knew that she used her, her hands and her feet, but I didn't know she put toenails in the recipe, like that type of stuff. Because in this litigious society where someone is always trying to come up based on your downfall, to me, it's always good to have paper prophylactics, which is to me formalizing your
prophylactics.
Mm-hmm. You got to protect them assets, right?
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
So to me, that's the best thing. It's not as formal as a C-Corp or an S-Corp, depending on how many shareholders you have or members that you have, but it's less formal. You don't have to worry about, oh, do I have at least like a president, a vice president, a secretary, or do I at least have a secretary, a treasurer? Most people get confused by that kind of stuff, especially when they're starting out. So it's less formal. Did I have my annual meeting? Did I have to make a decision? Because there's a lot of people who start corporations and they truly act like it's me, myself, and God. I'm like, no. You're supposed to defer to the board. You can't make a decision without the board. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for it to be, even a corporation, to be deemed as your alter ego. So,
you can do what's called pierce the veil of the organization.
Yeah. And that's
understand about piercing veils. People don't think about or even understand piercing veils.
Well, most people, I'm an entrepreneur, so I get it, when you just have your heart to do something, but at least I know from my over 20 years experience of seeing how people really F themselves up when they disregard the rules, because the rules are in place for a reason. The rules are in place because business to me is a game and strategy is key, but also knowing the rules and the players and the power players and the regulators is key as well. Like this one guy I just found out yesterday, he's about to jack himself up because he got a building, he's got an opportunity to do great things where he is, but he just wants to be bootleg, jackleg. And you have to, what I call boss up, meaning that you have to build your own self-success story, and you have to see like, okay, this is where I want to be. How are these people acting? It's not always about a hustle. There's rules, there's regulations. When people tell you that if you're going to fix something on a commercial side, then you can't just do your own thing and say, oh, well, I was able to do this in the hood or whatever. It's just a shift in mentality. So for him and for many people, when they start these corporations, because he's starting a nonprofit corporation and he's totally disregarding the rules. Well, what's ended up going to happen is that a lot of people, once you get to the point where you're getting government money and you're getting people who are buying into your mission and your message, but you still have strategies that are basement, that are subpar, that are that violate the rules, the game, which is, thou shalt have a governing board. Thou shalt not always try to be your own boss. Thou shalt defer to wise counsel. You know what I mean? Thou shalt understand the rules of what the rules with regards to once you start making your money. And Camari, you can attest to this, especially as a nonprofit, you can't always rely upon the note cards. People want to know, what is your money? Where did it come from? Let's see your cash flow statement. And there's so many people, it's like, I don't have time for that. Well, when you have no time and you disregard the rules, you end up unconsciously violating the rules. And when you violate the rules, then all those people who are relying upon you to up level and to step up, they're going to miss out on the wonderful thing, because this person is about to lose a building that was donated to them with specific conditions. So, and those are nonprofits. There's a lot of people who start nonprofits with like $5,000 and a dream, hope and a dream. But you can almost like a sole proprietorship, have like an unincorporated group of people come together.
Right.
You do it up to 5 years. Yeah. But there's still rules. Even if you don't formalize, there's still rules of the game. There's EEOC rules. There's IRS rules. There's Department of Labor rules. You know what I mean? There's child abuse protection rules if you got a bunch of volunteers and things of that nature. So I get that people have a heart to, oh, I just want to do something. Oh, I just want to help out. But once you get into the exchanging of you monetize your gifts and your
Right.
and you're exchanging your labor, your products, your services for a fee, and you're putting yourself out there as a business person, you got to play the business game by being the business person.
No, I agree. I actually want to come back to some of the rules because there's one issue I've been facing a lot, but I want to keep going. So we're at LLC right now, and let's go to S-Corp because I think you explained LLC pretty well.
Yeah. So the S-Corp is just, once again, now it's a corporation. And for Camari's purposes, he can tell you how people like it because it's not like a double taxation. It's still a group of people. It's still a corporation, but it's not the double taxation. So once the company brings in money, I like easy numbers, $100,000. And then, then they figure out all the loopholes, including employee benefits, healthcare and all that stuff, certain healthcare, of course. And,
Right.
all of those benefits, then, say if $10,000 is left over, each member has to pay their pro rata share of taxes.
Right.
Which
And just to let everybody know, that also happens in the LLC as well.
Right.
There's a lot of similarities between LLCs and S corps. Don't want to bore anybody with the technicalities, but I do want to get this information out there so everybody can make better business decisions, especially better business formation decisions.
Yeah.
With S corp though, it's like you said, it's a corporation, and the difference between the LLC from a legal standpoint, from a liability standpoint, would be what?
To me, there's really no difference when the way the LLCs and the S corps are really worked out. There's some benefits that you can get from employee benefits, because I only say that because a lot of my people, they elect to be S corp. You know what I mean? So they're as an LLC, but they're an S corp. Whereas, so now you're being more formal. Now you have your directors. Now you have your governing board. Now you have your trustees. So you became a lot more formal. And then you can have up to 100 members or whatever, unless it's changed.
It's either 99 or 100. I always get it confused.
Okay.
That's the amount of shareholders you can have for an S corp.
Right. So, and then you also can get dividends, right? As opposed to other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the real, from a tax standpoint, one of the big points of changing an LLC to an S corp or being taxed as an S corp when you're an LLC is to defer a lot of the self-employment tax. So a lot of people are trying to avoid that because when you're, like you said, an LLC and you're a disregarded entity, like you brought up before, you still have to pay self-employment tax, which is like 15.3%. So it can be costly. But the other thing that a lot of people don't realize when they pick S corp is that the IRS wants you to take a market rate wage or salary. And so a lot of people go in, they create the corporation, and they don't take a salary. They're not ready to take a salary yet, or they're not even thinking about it. Some people try to use these entities as shell companies, but I won't go too deep into that. But they want to see you take a salary because now you're a corporation, and they want it to be market rate. So they don't want you to just take $10,000 as a salary and just not pay anything in Social Security or what. I'm sorry, let me back up. So self-employment tax is meant to be a business person, a self-employed person way of paying into Social Security and Medicaid. And so they know the IRS is not stupid, that when people have an opportunity not to pay something, they won't pay it. So This is how they'll come back. And with S corps, for people that formalize S corps, they're attacking a lot of them now. They're targeting them rather to see if they are taking an adequate market rate salary. So.
Right. Well, I mean, if you listen to the one guy who's not an accountant, pay yourself first. In my brain, I'm just like, technically, just call yourself an employee, because that's the benefit of being paid first before anything else is taken care of.
Well, I mean, with pay yourself first is also an overall strategy for wealth building as well, because we pay everybody first, the bill man, the tax man, everybody.
I'm sorry. He doesn't say pay yourself first. He says profit first, which drives me crazy. My legal brain. I'm like, profit isn't profit after, it's like, it's after The expenses are
His
deducted
stuff,
out?
his stuff is actually good. I haven't read the book, but I've watched a few interviews with him. I can't think of the author's name off the top of my head, but
Malkovich, something.
yeah, he's pretty good though. He's pretty good, and his premise is pretty good, but it's not for the beginner. I'll just say that, right? Because in the beginning, usually you don't have any profits, and I believe that's the point you're alluding to. You don't have any profits, so it's like, what do you want to do? But the ideal is what happens with a lot of business owners, they'll pay everybody first, even after they start generating profits, and they won't pay themselves. And when you are a business owner and you have a business, the whole point of having a business is to create wealth.
Right.
If it's not that, then it's just a hustle. And then that's a totally different conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. But, it's two different ways of thinking. But most business owners don't extract as much cash out of their businesses as possible. And that creates problems for down the road when you get older, when you want to retire, when you might want to buy another business, when you might want to move on. Mm-hmm. You don't have the liquidity and the flexibility of doing that.
Okay.
So, all right. So S-Corp, I know you got to have a meeting at least once a year, right? You got to document your notes.
Yes. At least once a year. And you have to have a determination as to if you're going to have a governing board or you're going to be ruled by your shareholders. Right. So that has to be a determination that's going to be made, which can be messy on the legal side if you have like a bunch of shareholders dictating what's going to happen. That's why most people have a governing board. And when you have a governing board from an enforcement perspective, I'm telling you right now, like I spent way too long when I was doing enforcement to just let people know that if there's ever an IRS, a Department of Labor, even an SEC, examination, review, investigation, whatever they call it, they're going to ask for minutes. They're going to ask for trustee minutes. And if there are none, I'm going to tell you right now, the presumption is that you're a liar and deceiver.
Right.
Pretty much.
And you're basically just running this organization as your pseudo entity.
As a sham. As a alter ego.
Alter ego, that's what I meant to say. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just so everybody knows, entities are like people. So when we talk LLC, partnership, S-Corp, corporations, they're recognized as people. And so as a person, you have to be able to stand up on your own, be your own person, do your own thing, and be able to survive without necessarily me as an individual, Camari, let's say, of the Philly tax team. So technically, Philly tax team should be able to survive without me in theory, right?
Well, most people read their operating agreements, or at least the statute code, which most people aren't going to do. But when you start a business, it's almost like you are creating, as far as law is concerned, you're creating a fictitious being. So as a fictitious being, it's supposed to live, breathe, survive on its own, ultimately. So
you have to stay away from fictitious being, because people are like, what the fictitious being? What's all that? But I get it. That's the legalese, and that's how it's discussed. And that's what you need to understand when you are in business.
Yes. You got to let that baby grow. Same with C-Corps, like a lot of people, I met a few people and I was like, why would you start a C-Corp? There's like, because they told me to incorporate. And I'm like, incorporate, okay, just say start, create, whatever you need to do, but incorporate and you don't have a board, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a huge problem.
I mean, once you incorporate, you do have a window, I want to say 3 months, 6 months, I forget what it is. You can elect to become an S-Corp. And just, Toni, can you tell people what the difference is between an S-Corp and a C-Corp?
Well, the biggest difference is the double taxation of it all, right? And the biggest difference is that, with regards to, you can have as many members for C-Corp, but a lot of people, I deal a lot more with entrepreneurs on the smaller end. Mm-hmm. Once they hit a certain amount of money, I have to send them to a law firm. You know what I mean? Because they have other issues that, I can't do as Legally Chic Boutique. But with regards to that is concerned, I'm always like, short of you having a board, short of you having a governance, short of you having the double taxation, meaning that you're going to get taxed at your level and then you're also going to get taxed at the corporate level, which a lot of people are running to right now because it's the whole new tax code. But that's you.
And the dividends are taxed at a lower rate. But yeah.
Right.
I mean, with the new tax code, all the business structures are going to benefit supposedly air quotes, with the new tax code. So that's going to be interesting after everything's rolled out.
Well,
But
I know a lot of people are trying to flip over right now.
they are.
Yeah.
They absolutely are.
They're like, what? Tax rate is like reduced.
Yeah.
Like we used to run away from the double taxation. Now we're like, wait a minute. If I'm already going to have to be an employee, even in the S-Corp world, I might as well make this work for me.
Right. And then there's other expenses you get to write off that you don't necessarily
like
get
a bigger expenses, right? Because of the fact that you're a disqualified person. If I could say it like that, a founder, someone who is a person of interest who can make decision making. So that's at a greater level as well. Like,
And then I mean, I guess one of the biggest distinguishing factors for me is a corporation is the big boy, right? The S-Corp is for small, closely held corporations or maybe family businesses or even an individual. So your board, technically in an S-Corp, your board can be a board of one, but everything needs to be documented, right? I don't want to step on across.
Documented.
Right. It's got to be documented, right? And I mean, it could be you by yourself. It could be a family, of three. It could be a husband and wife. But again, everything needs to be documented, right?
Everything has to be. The documentation, as I always say, it literally is. It's redundant for people because it doesn't make sense, but it really does protect you because the question is, did you comply with the rules? Mm-hmm. If you establish that you comply with the rules, then you get the protection of the rules. Right. If you disregard the rules, then the rules will disregard you, essentially. Right. So if you have to have your annual meeting, have your annual meeting. It doesn't matter if it's your whatever has a social security number, dog act, cat 8, whatever, as long as it has an opportunity to have a conversation and as long as it has an opportunity to have a vote and that you present all of the information and you document it, just minutes.
Right.
Minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
That needs to be done at least once a year, but ideally every time you have a meeting,
right,
you need to have documentation.
Right. And really, if someone's only meeting once a year, the question is, okay, did you really rely upon your board?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because especially if you're making significant changes with regards to capital, significant changes with regards to, you shifted your business, you shifted your mission, you're having a joint venture with maybe like a sponsorship plan, or those are decisions and determinations that the board would be like, is this good? Is this something that's in our best interest? Can we make money off of it? Can we mitigate mitigate our damages and things of that nature? So those are conversations that when you seek wise counsel, that's why everybody will be like, oh, can you be on my board? And I'm like, no. But everyone, this, they want an accountant, they want a lawyer, they want someone who's known in the business so that when they do have a program or they have an event, that, they can collaborate with people, rub shoulders with people, with decision makers and things of that nature. More than likely, they want like a representative, someone who's been in politics or very close to it, and we get it. But at the same time, you still need people who are on board because there's a lot of people who say yes and won't show up.
Yep, that's true. But that's well, it sounds like you're sharing some of your nonprofit experience. But from a straight corporation, a for-profit corporation, because let me be clear, nonprofits are also corporations too.
Yes.
But we're not talking nonprofits tonight. We're going to talk nonprofits another day. But yeah, it definitely can be a very laborious, tedious thing, and you got to be up for it.
Right. Because I've read board minutes where they're talking about the employee benefit plan, and then the question is, well, why did you stay with this fund if it was bleeding money? That's a decision that a governing entity will ask. Right. Or they would say, well, did the sexual harassment? About this whole Time's Up movement, and if it's a board, they should know about what's going on with the employees, and they'll be like, well, it's a human resources, what structures in place and things of that nature. So if something is going on or there's a settlement, but you didn't have a board minute, a meeting, right, and it's not written down in a minutes, that's a problem.
Now Tony's talking real big business now. But
Hey, which where you want me to be? Small, little, whatever.
nah, I want you to give it the real. And I mean, all of those are real. But you know what? I do want to do this. Let's talk about what exactly a board is. Because I don't think people truly understand what a board is.
What you mean?
They don't
A
understand what
board?
a board of directors is.
Well, usually a board of directors is made up of like officers of a corporation, so it's oftentimes it's the president, it's the vice president, it's the secretary, it's the treasurer, depending on the bylaws, which is like, help me out because I don't want to sound too legalistic, but the bylaws are usually like, I say, the constitution for the business. It's almost like the Bible of the business, the rules of the business. So the bylaws will also say whether non-members could be part of the board, or committee people can be part of the board, or certain governing agencies can be part of the board. So those are all listed in your bylaws, and the bylaws would say, okay, once you have this officer or director, then this is what they're supposed to do. And we're supposed to meet, we're supposed to have a quorum, we're supposed to make a decision and determination, and we're supposed to set forth a budget. And then we're supposed to set forth policies. And then we're supposed to set forth the mission. And then we're supposed to set forth the strategy plan.
Right.
A lot of people are like, well, I'm the board. Yeah.
Right.
Then do an LLC.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I kind of call it, I just say the board is like the parents of the company, and they're there to steward and guide everybody to make sure.
Yeah, the guardians.
Right. The guardians. Yes, thank you. That's a better term. Guardians. I'll use that now. I'm going to jack it. So they're the guardians of the corporation or the business, and they're to make sure to be good stewards and make sure you don't do anything dumb, even if it's the board of being you. In the book, The E-Myth Revisited, I can't think of the author's name off the top of my head, but they talk about how every entrepreneur has to basically wear three hats: the technician hat when you're actually doing the work, the manager hat to make sure that the technicians do their work, and then the entrepreneur or the boss hat. And so your bosses technically reside on the board, and they have to think about things, have vision, be able to execute on that vision. But with doing that, you need to formalize it and document it as well. So I wanted to take a minute to talk about that, because a lot of people aren't thinking about that. They're not thinking about that at all. And it's really important.
Well, first of all, it's not sexy until you get your ass beat up in litigation. Then you run over and be like, you know what? It's not sexy, but I need to know this. Because everybody, if I talk to people, they're like, oh, that's not sexy. That's not hot. That's not juicy. And I'm just like, you know what's juicy? When the money you make stays in your pocket, as opposed to the imitators, duplicators, regulators, or pontificators. You know what I mean? So with regards to, I remember a couple of months ago, someone had said, my board said that I had to listen to them, and I disagree with them. And I was like, one, you need to read your rules.
So let's be clear on this. What kind of entity are we talking about?
Huh?
What kind of entity are we talking about?
It was a nonprofit corporation.
Yeah, I could tell.
No, you can't tell, because guess what? There's another person who is a for-profit corporation, and they effed up. They're so effed up that they're about to go to jail because they wouldn't listen to the board. So it doesn't matter. Get that out your head with regards to for-profit, nonprofit. Because if somebody effed up and don't want to abide by the rules, they just going to do what they're going to do anyway.
So, I think I'm a lawyer in my head, right? I play a lawyer on social media sometimes.
Okay.
But no, what I was thinking is so for profit, right? With these smaller corporations, it's family, a husband and wife.
Yes.
So usually that's what's called a oh man, I am lost for words this evening. But it's a favorable board for this example. And so they'll talk amongst themselves and they'll figure it out themselves, and then they'll go. What happens, they usually don't document. But that's why I said I could tell it was a nonprofit board, because founders / EDs or executive directors have that battle all the time.
Always.
And bigger in a board. Now, I hope I'm not losing anybody with being overly technical. On the C-Corp boards, it's usually a different game than it is on the S-Corp boards. Again, because the S-Corp boards, that's what me and Toni are used to dealing with. It's a closely held board. It's a closely held corporation. And so if me and Toni go into business together, we've been friends for at least 10 years off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. We have a rapport, we have a relationship. So I can go to Toni and talk. So now And even though I don't think this will happen, but it will probably have a better chance of happening with me versus somebody she doesn't know and doesn't have a relationship with. But I could potentially coerce Toni to see my way and do what I want, even though it's not in the best interest of the business. And that's why in these bigger boards, your GMs, your Exxons, they have what's called independent board members.
Right.
Hope I'm not losing anybody, but the independent board members typically don't have the same kind of relationship and are more objective. Right. And so the thought about all that, what I'm saying is that people have to try to be as objective as possible, no matter the business structure that they're in. And they don't want to do that a lot of times.
Well, I mean, put it like this, and I see where you're going. Like for me, maybe because I spent so much time either looking at mega rich companies or sitting on boards saying, how I end up here with all these rich people with affluence and stuff like that, or working on nonprofits, or even like when I was doing enforcement. It's ultimately, I just look at people and I'm just like, I for one, and then I learned 20 years in this business as a lawyer, I learned not to really do business with family or friends.
Oh, that's another one we'll have to come back to. We're gonna have to. We got a whole bunch of stuff we need to talk about.
Right.
So
you know, so when I hear about, like, I know a couple of companies that have their board of family and friends, you know what I mean? And then they just be like, oh, whatever Camari wants or whatever, he can do whatever. But I tell people all the time, you know, when you say yes to setting up a board, you say yes to possibly being sued if something gets jacked up.
Right.
It's called joint and severable liability for a reason. That means that the plaintiff, because for years I was litigation and I'm still trying to get out of litigation, but you know, it is kind of fun and sexy with regards to litigation as well. And I do like helping people get out of their mess. But with regards to litigation, plaintiffs don't care. We're going to see who's on the board. Literally, we'll see who's on the board and the board will get sued. Now,
they have a fiduciary responsibility.
They have a fiduciary responsibility, right? And so if you were just like, oh, I just did it to say yes to a friend or family or whatever, you still have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that one, your fictitious entity is operating in compliance with probably a statute that you probably didn't even open up to figure it out, or to at least seek out, what does this statute mean? Or even with most operating agreements, I was about to say get all legalistic, like I was about to say espouse, like, you know, legalese, but it literally sets out as per the statute, as per the code, this is what we're going to do. And most people don't do that. They just be like, oh, I got this pile of money. Oh, I got this affiliation and I can make $100,000. Oh, I'm about to get this coin. Oh, I'm about to secure the bag. And I'm just like, okay, so who's going to, if you just want to literally be me, myself, and God, I want you to just be an LLC and just get taxed as an S-Corp. Okay. Set up your salary, get taxed as an S-Corp, get your employee benefits or whatever. As opposed to you saying, oh, I need to be an S-Corp or, oh, I need to be a C-Corp, because the rules are the rules are the rules. If there's any inkling that you defecated on the rules, then guess what? You will not be protected by the rules that you chose to ignore. Because the rules, once you say yes to this bossed up game called business, we don't care if you just started. We don't care if you never knew. We don't care if mom and them always handled the books, but somebody passed away. If something happens, we coming for you and your board. So when I hear husband and wife, I've been married for 20 years. My husband and I, we have joint venture agreements, you know, and we have paper prophylactics with regards to our music business and stuff like that. But I learned from people that, you know, people will defecate on you and it's always about me, find me. So even when I hear family members, or I'm like, you at least need one independent person, even if you have to appoint an independent fiduciary, and y'all go to that independent fiduciary once a year to make sure your stuff is in order.
Right. And usually smaller situations like that, there'll be an accountant or lawyer or both.
Right.
I'd work with some couples who do business together. And so I kind of serve as the heavy. So it gets really interesting at times.
I'm sure, especially if they end up divorced.
Yeah. And nobody never wants to think about that.
But that's why people don't like lawyers. But I'm like, look, my job is to get you to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and the possibilities. That's why I'm like, I'm a big proponent of business nuptials. You need to know what they have, what they don't have. You need to know their credit history, their credit rating. You need to know who they're in bed with, because there's a lot of people who will say yes to you, but then they're in business with other people. And because some people are just about that coin, or some people are just about, they'll just say yes to anybody until they get their come up.
Right. So I don't want to keep you all night, but I want to play a quick game with you.
Okay.
So it's the what if game. So
I plead the blood of Jesus, and I plead the fifth.
So we're going to use me as the example, right?
Oh, okay.
And so I want to ask you a couple questions, and I want you to tell me which structure do you think could be best possibly suited for my situation.
Okay. By the way, this hypothetical.
This all hypothetical. Toni is not giving me any legal advice. I haven't given her a retainer, so this is all hypothetical.
Yes. Hashtag fee mail.
Hashtag retainer fee. How about that? All right. So I am starting up Camari's cookies. I'm making cannabis cookies with THC. They're the best thing on the market. I'm thinking about marketing in the Delaware Valley area. I have no startup capital, but I can get $100 together to make a batch of cookies.
Did you say cannabis cookies? Cannabis cookies?
Cannabis edibles.
Okay, so the presumption is that this is legal. Okay, so the presumption is that it's legal. And, in the beginning, you don't know. You just want to start this up. It's legal. You're probably doing it in your kitchen and you're using your name. I would say go for a sole proprietor.
So even with making food and the possibility of people suing me for food sickness or whatever,
they're going to sue you anyway. But presumption is that with cannabis, they're probably not going to care. Because I don't even.
It could be medical.
Oh, medicinal. So you have a license?
No, just sole proprietorship.
Right. Well, yeah. I would say sole proprietorship, unless you want the limited liability, like maybe somebody get mad because your cannabis is not 100%. You know what I mean? And you gave them some fakerization, or you put a little extra in it and they don't really taste it, or they didn't get
some oregano.
Right. You put oregano in it, and under the FTC, you're telling them that it is all natural. You added some stuff to it.
So now we're going with the false advertisement claims.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So sole prop for that would maybe an LLC. Okay.
Right.
So I'm a contractor who's looking to do real estate development.
Okay.
I'm going to buy land. I'm going to develop that land, and then I'm going to sell that land to potential people.
Buy, sell, flip?
Maybe it'll be per situation. It'll be situational. So let's say I have $500,000 in capital. Originally, I'm going to buy, sell, and flip. I have one lot already under management, or under ownership rather.
People are in it?
No, it's just a lot. Vacant land.
Just a lot.
Yes.
But do you have somebody at least maintaining the lot just in case, to make sure nobody's tripping and falling on the roots or anything else like that?
Let's say no.
What the hell? LLC.
Okay. Why?
I make my coin doing asset protection. And one of the big things for asset protection is we do limited liability for everything.
Okay. So
we get it out of our name.
Okay. So we want to get it out of our name because somebody slips and falls, they can sue me personally, correct?
Personally, yes.
Okay. All right. Last one. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm a digital marketer. I've been in business and what I mean by digital marketing is I help people make money online.
Okay.
I've been in business for 5 years. I have 2 employees, but they're not really on the books. I just kind of pay them under the table.
You just hurt my ears. My legal ears is like, what?
Am I giving you a headache?
Yes. I just tell people like, I can't even go with this hypothetical. Okay. You're under the table. You got employees. They should have been independent contractors or they employees. You probably don't even have workers' compensation.
We getting all that, but they under the table. So, I don't have workers' compensation, right?
But that's illegal if they're employees.
And so I'm doing about $500,000 a year in revenue.
What the hell? You're doing about $500,000 a year and you can't be legal?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm trying to get legal now. So I'm asking you what.
All right.
What potential? LLC.
I'm
gonna push back on that one.
But get this. You could be an LLC being taxed as an S-Corp or C-Corp.
Right. But you gotta.
But you said it's only you, and you didn't tell me that you had directors or anybody.
But I have 2 employees.
Yeah, but 2 employees, your employees don't become your officers.
No, they don't become our officers, but I would pick S-Corp, whether we want to talk LLC getting taxed as an S-Corp, but for this application, I'm just saying S-Corp because they would save money on self-employment tax.
But LLC being taxed as an S-Corp.
Well, I'm saying I'm making that distinction for this application.
But that's all I do. I tell people, if you're going to be tacky, you got 2 people who are being paid under the table. That means you're not even going to have minutes. You're probably not even going to stick with no daggone bylaws. You're not even going to have a quarterly meeting. You're not going to even ask permission. So you might as well just stay as less formal as possible.
No. We want best case scenario here, not for Raheem and all of them. We want it to be the best thing possible.
To me, that is the best thing possible. If you're all about yourself and you don't have a board, then the best thing possible is set up as an LLC. That way you can make your own determinations.
Okay, but LLC being taxed is what? See, I didn't want to go down that route. That's why I was kind of keeping it vanilla.
Why not? That's what I tell people.
So I would say LLC tax is the S-Corp.
Okay. And why?
Because they save money on self-employment tax.
Okay.
Right.
But what else? They could set up their own employee benefit plans too, right?
Yeah, but you can do your own employee benefit plan as an LLC as well. But
not with employees.
Yeah, yes you can.
Can you?
Yeah.
You can set it up.
But I just wanted to make that distinction because when you start talking LLC taxes this and taxes that, people get lost. So I just wanted to make it easy for folks.
They'd be like, what? But you can tell them about the beauty of some loopholes. You know what I mean? Like some people don't understand that when you abide by the rules, there's some benefits to the rules.
Oh, there's a lot of benefits to the rules.
Huge benefits to the rules.
Now, you brought up something earlier that I wanted to talk about for all my entrepreneurs out there. You talked about workers' comp and how are they setting up the people that work with them as either employees or independent contractors.
Right.
So either over the last 2 years, I've had 4 clients get audited by the Department of Labor for their states, not for the federal government, but for their states.
Okay.
Why? Because they're trying to give everybody a 1099 or pay them as an independent contractor.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that because they don't want to pay tax, the additional tax.
Liars and deceivers.
Idolater, your soul is required by Satan.
Okay.
New Jack City reference for all those who aren't familiar. So they've gotten audited, and some of them have gotten some pretty big fines because they have to go back and pay the taxes they were supposed to pay, but they are listing people as independent contractors when in actuality they are employees. So I wanted you to talk to that a little bit because I know you have experience with that, because there's a whole test or litany of things you need to think about before you actually say this person's an independent contractor.
Well, there is a test, and we can always go to Google Squire or Department of Labor, DOL DOTS. I want to say is
Google Department of Labor.
Okay, just Department of Labor. But the huge big test, first of all, maybe people don't get the reason why the rule is there. So the reason the why of the rule is there is that, you know, the government doesn't want, we all know this is a game, business is a game, business is a game. And each player has their own role, right? So a business is a game and each player has their own role. There's a lot of employees who they need they need business, they need services, they need maybe some health benefits, they need to be protected by the liars and deceivers in the marketplace. And with regards to the huge distinction, and I had mentioned this yesterday with a group, the huge distinction oftentimes is that an independent contractor is oftentimes a business owner or hustlepreneur. Like it has more than one client who is paying their bills, right? Like someone said, well, there's companies and I could have 5 jobs. Boo boo, I'm not talking about you. But if you want to make that distinction, when you have them 5 jobs, you can't go to boss man at the first job and say, oh, the third job wants me to come in early. So can we shift my hours from the regular time to another time? No. But when you're an independent contractor who have a business, I have several employees, several clients. And, some people are like, oh, can I see you on Monday? No, Monday's not working good, but Friday works. So I can make a distinction. First of all, I have my books. I have my service agreement. I have my structures. I have my processes. No one's going to tell me what I'm going to do as far as like as an independent contractor business owner. Whereas employees, most of them are like, teach me, feed me, grow me. You know what I mean? Tell me what to do, protect me.
Right.
Because it's a unilateral conversation. Boss man, boss woman says XYZ. And oftentimes short of it being like a EEOC violation or a American Disability Act violation, or a religious accommodations violation or something along those, then the boss man be like, no, I want you here, or no, you're not going to get this break, or no, you can't take off of work on this time because I really need you. So I hate to say it because I'm a bossed up woman, but it's almost like a subservient role where most employees can't really push back unless they're being violated.
Right.
Whereas if you are a business owner, you can push back. You can be like, no, you didn't pay me, so I'm not going to work with you. Like some people be like, tell them, where's my work? And I'm like, excuse me, where's the payment for my invoice?
Right.
Whereas when you're an employee, oftentimes because of that at-will employment, you try to appease the boss man as much as possible. So that's a big, huge difference. Another big, huge difference, which is kind of, sometimes I get pushback because in this day and age, it's kind of like everything is kind of blurred lines, except for the key distinction. So another one is most of the time, depending, once you up level to the next level, you can't be a director talking about nobody taught me. Okay. But oftentimes an employee will ask for training or ask for, guidance, or look for the employer to be like, where's the pens and the papers, or, your phone's not working. Whereas if you are really a businesspreneur, hustlepreneur, independent contractor for real, that you got to appease the client. So you're going to pay for your own training if you have to pay for it, pay for your own expenses, have your own investment in things of that nature, and also have a service agreement in place where you say, pay me, I want half up front. How many people can get half of their paycheck up front without doing any work?
And not pay any taxes on it right away.
And not pay any taxes on it. You know what I mean? So the government is like, hey, when we have people who are employee mindset, we want the employer to pay what? Payroll taxes. We want them to protect them with workers' compensation, so much so that in Pennsylvania it's criminal. You know what I mean? We want
wait.
That's what my friend George said.
So not having workers' comp and you have employees in Pennsylvania is illegal. It's against the law.
Yes.
Be charged criminally.
Yes.
Didn't know that. I
didn't know it either until George. His name is George Gossett. You need to hook up with him. He's good people.
I know that name. He's an attorney?
Yes, he's an attorney. Yeah. And he has like a construction business, real estate. He does like a lot of good work.
I know George. I do know George. I know who you're talking about now. I met George.
He does a lot of litigation because church people be fighting too.
Yeah, he has a school.
Yes, real estate school.
Yep. I know George. Yep. Okay, well. So, but I guess the other thing, one of the key things for me too, when talking to business owners who are looking to hire people to help them with their business and making a distinction between independent contractor versus employee, is time. So usually employees have to be to work at a certain time. Independent contractors may or may not
Well, you can get tricky with that.
I
There's
know,
always,
I know, but you got to think about it. It's part of the test, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I think, one of the things you made was employees can go to their employer for training. Independent contractors cannot do that.
right.
So, there's a lot of things you need to think about. But again, most times folks say, well, I'm going to hire some folks. They automatically slot them as independent contractors as if they truly have a choice, and they really don't.
Right. As if they have a choice and they can negotiate.
Right.
So with regards to it, it says employers who do not have workers' compensation coverage may be subject to lawsuits by employers and to criminal prosecution.
I wonder how many states that's across. It's probably pretty
I know
common.
it's in Pennsylvania.
Right. Well, I have clients all over the country, so I'm always curious to see what laws impact what. I mean, for the most part, a lot of stuff is uniform, but at the same time, a lot of it is.
You should ask them. Hey, if you're looking at this live stream or whatever, check out your state and tell us whether or not it's criminal to have workers' compensation and not have workers' compensation in your state, whatever it is. So hashtag your state and tell us if it's criminal or not criminal to not have workers' comp.
Y'all got the question? Is it criminal or not to have workers' comp in your state?
So hashtag your state.
Hashtag your state and let us know yes or no.
Yes.
In the comments. Put it in the comments. That's a good question. Good question.
Yeah. Because that's always good, with regards to it. And I always say with regards to the timing, because back in the day we can say, oh, now if I need somebody, but like I need an independent contractor from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Right.
I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm not going to hire you unless you can comply with what I'm looking for. And then it becomes a contractual agreement. Now, then it becomes like, whose processes are we using? You know what I mean? So if I say, no, this is how we do it. Like someone was like, oh, we're going to prioritize this and that and the other. I'm like, that's a conversation for you and your people.
Right.
You tell me what you need. Yeah, I can care less. Or
Right.
sometimes people want to go back and forth and they don't really understand that most attorneys, we're not sitting here having a conversation over and over again about like meetings. It's like, what do you want? And this is how it's done.
Well, some of y'all will, not you though.
No.
It's more billable hours on the client.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. But most people, then they get their bill and they're like, I didn't know that I had to pay for that. Well, what you think, I was free?
Yeah. That's why you got to get a retainer.
Right.
Hashtag retainer fee.
Yes. Hashtag retainer fee, money up front.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, you answered a lot of my questions. You know how we do. We could go on and on all night. We could put everybody to sleep and then wake them back up again. So, but I appreciate you being on here. Let everybody know where they can find you. The book that you have, because I didn't know you had a book. So you need to let me know that so I can help promote that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So I can be found at legallychic360.com. That is my home base. On Facebook, strictly law, law is law. So I have a Facebook page called Legally Chic 360. Also, Handle Your Business Guide is on Amazon, or anytime there's a conference and I'm there, I'm usually selling it for like.
How much is it?
On Amazon, it's $14.99.
Okay.
Yeah, and at conferences, because people pay for the conferences and things of that nature, if I'm at a conference, it's usually $10.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's good information. It starts from, we talk about the entities, we talk about know who your partner is, we talk about SWOT analysis, plan for your success. We give them information with regards to the different types of agencies that they need to be wary of. Also protect your assets, whether, I do a lot on intellectual property side. So we talk about copyrights and trademarks, patents, all that stuff, at least that's how you make your dreams a reality. It's not just about taking that leap of faith. It's about knowing the rules, because at the end of the day, business is a game and strategy is key. So it's called Handle Your Business. It's a guidebook. You can definitely go to bit.ly, Handle Your Business Guide, and it will drop you right exactly to the Amazon page.
Excellent. Excellent. So everybody go like Toni's page. Everybody knows me. I'm Camari Ellis, founder of the Philly Tax Team. Like my page, share this video. And we did get a response from Teresa Broadway. So she said, PA, yes, workman's comp is needed. Yep.
Yes.
Definitely is. So be sure to share this. Be sure to share this out with all those entrepreneurs, soon-to-be-preneurs, and already established preneurs, because I'm sure they need some help somewhere, somehow, some way. Well, Toni, I truly appreciate you tonight. And I just realized today is Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday.
So it's Tax Tuesday. And
Tax Tuesday.
I wasn't even thinking about it. It just kind of happened organically.
Hey.
Yeah.
Meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So good night, everybody. And we will see you maybe next Tuesday. I might keep this going.
Oh, cool. All right. We'll talk soon.